Hey, what's going on? This is Troy, and this is the Planet 76 podcast, your source for Sixers news, highlights, hot takes, and more. Welcome to the show. Welcome back, everybody, to Planet 76. Michael, the Sixers are playing against another basketball team this week. How are we feeling?
Feeling good, man. Feeling very good.
Preseason action against the Raptors. So they dropped game one against the Raptors. They're playing right now, unless it's over, against the Raptors again, and looking pretty good. They scored over 70, I think, in the first half. Is that right?
Yep.
So not looking too shabby. So what all are we going to get into on this episode as the countdown begins to Sixers regular season coming up on, 13 days away. So what's in store today?
So today we're just going to be talking some preseason. We're going to be highlighting some key guys that have shown some flashes in the preseason so far. Some of the new guys. It wasn't pretty obvious, but and then we're going to, as Troy mentioned, we have just about 2 weeks until the start of the Sixers season. It would be 2 weeks as of yesterday, but currently it's about 13 days until the Sixers play the Pelicans on October 20th, and then obviously their home opener on Friday, October 22nd against the Brooklyn Nets. It's going to be a great game. And we're just going to talk some format stuff toward the end of the episode on where we're going to go from here with episodes and frequency of episodes as well. So that's pretty much what we're going to be getting into right now, and let's get right into it.
Cool. So I'm going to start it off with this.
Cool.
We are 2 preseason games in to the Sixers season, and we already have the Sixers tweet of the year. Sixers Twitter, not the Sixers page, but people on Sixers Twitter. One was today, and it was this: Danny Green, 1 possession, 2 jumpers off the bounce, 0 points. So Danny Green is in mid-season form already.
I saw you posted that on our Instagram, and I was like,
mid-season form.
Danny Green.
I'm very curious as to what Danny Green's shooting percentage is off after a dribble. It's significantly lower than his catch and shoot rate. It's bad.
Definitely.
So that's the tweet of the year already. It's gonna be hard to top that one, in my opinion. So much truth in that, but that's all I've really picked up on in Sixers preseason. Is that Tyrese Maxey had a nice step back today, and there was another tweet that someone said, "Well, the Sixers' old point guard couldn't do that." I thought that was pretty good. So Sixers Twitter is off to a hot start.
Sixers Twitter is
what about on
right
the
now.
court? What's jumped out to you on the court?
Well, obviously there's only been 2 preseason games, but right now, Isaiah Joe looked really good in the first preseason game. He had some nice highlight plays. One play I noticed and I saw on Twitter, he had a really deep 3-pointer that he just drained. So his range seems really good, and obviously I haven't really seen a lot of Isaiah Joe in the NBA. We've seen him with the Blue Coats. We've seen him in the summer league. We haven't really seen much Sixers Isaiah Joe. So that was a nice little flash of what could be a really solid rotational player for this team. And again, it is still preseason still, so take everything with a grain of salt right now. But still, it's cool to see that.
Yeah, it is. It is. And then Andre Drummond with a big game, big performance in game 1 of the preseason. Still weird looking at him in a Sixers uniform. That's going to take a long time, I feel like, to get used to. But Joel and Tobias did not play in game 1. They're playing tonight again against the Raptors. Matisse sitting this one out tonight. But yeah, I'm trying to think of what else preseason notes. Tyrese Maxey got the start in game 1, and then Shake with the nod tonight. I don't know if there's anything to that, any speculation or whatever, but just kind of something that happened, something that we noticed. Yeah. What else?
Yeah, I mean Andre Drummond. A lot of people were. Listen, this is gonna be. This is more me telling myself this out loud, as opposed to me saying it for the podcast. We have to get used to people just being totally overreactionary and just outright just kind of crazy, because people just overreact about everything. Like somebody on my page, a couple people on my page were like, "Oh my God, Andre Drummond is not going to do this in the regular season. He's not this good." Yeah, obviously it's literally preseason and Joel Embiid wasn't playing.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're not going to get this Andre Drummond all the time, but we can expect pretty much this from Drummond. What he did on the court, that's what he's going to do in the NBA. Obviously, with the realization that it's meaningful basketball, which preseason is not.
Right.
And he's going to have less minutes when Embiid plays, but for the most part, what Andre Drummond did the other night, that's pretty much what he's going to do. He's going to get rebounds, he's going to catch lobs, and he's going to run the floor and block shots. That's what a backup center is supposed to do. Everybody's like,
yep.
Andre Drummond is not good. He's so bad. He's not going to be able to. If he's playing 10 minutes per night, you probably won't even notice he's out there. Honestly, really, truly. And nothing against Andre Drummond. It's just there's no reason to overreact about it. Like he's a backup.
Right.
He's a backup center. He's not our starting center. He's not an all-star.
Right. Yeah, I think that, and again, it's after, 1 game, 1.5 games now. And I personally, I mean, we talked about this, after the signing happened with Andre Drummond, and there was a recent thing the Sixers posted about, kind of him in this role. He's still going to do what he's done in the NBA. It's in a different role this year, of course, behind Joel Embiid, where he is behind Joel Embiid, but the one thing I think that's interesting with Andre Drummond is one thing that's important is he has to stay healthy. We need him to stay healthy. And the second thing, again, and we've talked about this before, is those games that Joel misses. We know he's going to miss some games. How good will Andre Drummond be? I mean, think back to last year with Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard got to a point where he wasn't even starting when Joel Embiid was out. I don't think that's going to be the case with Andre Drummond. I think he's going to get those minutes like we saw in the first preseason game. And what's he going to do with them? 1, and 2, is it going to help the Sixers win? Because I would love to be able to look at, 3, 4, 5 games this year when Joel doesn't play and be able to say, Andre Drummond helped us win that game. Right. And without him, we might have lost. Yes, exactly. And if we can say that at the end of the year, over a few games that might help us in the standings, help us, get home court advantage in the playoffs or whatever it is, and we can think, okay, Andre Drummond helped us, that's huge. So that's kind of what I think. And again, even what you said in his 10, 12, 14 minutes a game, what's he going to do with those? And what's he going to do when his minutes expand into a bigger role? Because, again, I mean, the dude's not old. He's still in his 20s, upper 20s, I think. Right. 2, he has had some massive games in the NBA before. But he's also had his fair share of, Shaqtin' a Fool moments where I think he just gets picked on and, it's easy to say, oh, he sucks because he did this wrong back in the day, because he threw the ball to the ref. He's easy to pick on, but, he's had monster performances, especially rebounding in the NBA, and I think he's still got some of those in him. So that's my thoughts on Andre Drummond. I think health and what's he going to do when Joel is not in the game or in the lineup.
Yeah, that really well said. Really, I mean, a lot of great things that you said there, and I think a lot of people sometimes, myself included, before he was on the Sixers, a lot of people have seen Drummond as not so much as an impactful basketball player, more of a stat guy. He just gets a lot of stats, and while some of that may be true when he was on lesser teams, he is actually going to have a role now, and he's going to be contributing to something.
Right.
So whatever he does, he's going to have the chance to become more impactful with his abilities, with his stats, because he has a role on a playoff team, something he hasn't had. I mean, last year with the Lakers, he didn't even have a role.
Right.
So he's going to have a role this year. He is the backup big man. He's the backup to Joel Embiid. He has a role, so he has something to play for.
Yep. Very true. Very true. So hope that he can fit into that role well, and I just hope it's going to be a big win for the Sixers in terms of a pickup.
Definitely.
In getting Andre Drummond. So, but he is not the only guy I have my eye on. And I'm just going to say, my eyes are on Tyrese Maxey. I mean, dude, the Philly fans love this guy, one. And I just feel, Sixers Twitter loves him.
Yeah.
It's the Sixers page themselves, they love this kid. I mean, I am so ready to watch this guy play. It's not even funny. So ready to watch and see what he does in regular season and see what he does in a bigger role. We've talked about that last episode. What are your thoughts on him or even Shake? Because his role's different now too. His role's bigger. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, man. I'm very. I don't want to put too high of expectations on Tyrese. However, I'm definitely.
Whoops.
It's already too late for you in that. No, but I'm very excited to see what he's gonna be able to do this season. And you mentioned it earlier with the step back three he hit. That got me excited because seeing a Sixers point guard do that, something that most NBA point guards do at a high level, a step back jumper, bang. Seeing a Sixers point guard do that, I was like, wow, that's awesome. I was eating dinner and I was like, wow, that's cool. That's cool, man. And I'm very excited to see what Tyrese is going to be able to do, like you mentioned, and obviously like we mentioned last week as well, I believe, with extended minutes, bigger role, more responsibility, whatever you want to call it.
I think the confidence is there too.
Oh, the confidence
for
is
sure
huge. Something that he's had, which is a really great sign. And when you have when you're a guy like that, when you have the confidence, you just work on your game, and everything else comes with it. Confidence is huge. It's bigger than skill at some points in time, because, like I said, if you have the confidence, you work on your game, you're there. That's what you got to do.
No doubt. It's gonna be fun to watch. Yeah, that step back today, and then he had a tough runner in the lane. I think it was an and one as well tonight.
That too. Yeah, that was nice.
So that looked good.
Yeah.
He's just doing stuff that we haven't seen in a Sixers starting point guard in quite some time.
Unless you want to count Jimmy Butler, which you could.
Right. So he's going to be fun to watch, and I'm excited. I want to put you on the spot with this next question. So before we get there, just a few things for you all to know kind of moving forward what we're going to be doing.
Yes.
But as we head down, again, the countdown is on 13 days to Sixers regular season starting. So over these next 2 episodes from tonight, 2 more, we're just going to kind of be previewing the season, getting ready, giving predictions, giving our thoughts on, who needs to do what for the Sixers to have success, maybe even, expand out to the whole NBA a little bit, give some standings predictions, stuff like that. Who knows? But we're going to get into that over the next couple episodes and give our predictions, give our thoughts. So you're definitely going to want to be sure to tune into those. And again, they tip it off on the 20th of October. We'll have our preview up a few days before that, just for that game in particular, the regular season, the first week, and so on. So, but I want to give our podcast listeners a little preview of something from you, putting you on the spot. So those 2 guys,
Sweet.
2 of our favorites to talk about, Tyrese Maxey and Shake Milton. I said we're going to preview a lot of predictions and stuff like that. Give me one prediction for both of those guys statistically. So whether it's Tyrese is going to average 6 assists or it's Shake Milton's going to average 15 points. Give me one statistical category for each of those guys that you think is going to happen this year. Or it could be something that you think needs to happen for the Sixers to be successful. On the spot.
You can't see. Troy can't see me right now because we're having technical issues and he's got his computer in another room. But he didn't see me, but I was smiling the whole time. Because as soon as he said those two numbers, those were the two numbers that I was thinking in my head that I was going to say. And he put me on the spot.
Look at that.
No premeditation of anything on this.
None.
Shake Milton, I would like to see him average 15 points. Tyrese Maxey, I'd like to see him average 6 assists. Anywhere between 13 and 15 points per game.
Whew.
That's what I would like
love
to see.
that.
I think it's very possible when you consider the fact context is everything in the NBA, especially when you consider the fact and put into the context of Tyrese Maxey having more responsibility. He is the point guard. He's going to have the ball in his hands to do more with the ball and to do more for his teammates. And when I say that, I mean assists. Shake Milton. At this, I mean, I don't want to sound that way. Not at this point, but I would really like to see a solid season from Shake. Again, mostly because of his inconsistent year last year, this past season. I'd like to see a really solid season. I'd really like to see a solid. If he's a sixth man, probably going to be Georges Niang, but if he's a sixth man, I'd like to see him put on a solid sixth man of the year campaign this year. We saw a little bit last season, not enough.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to see that. That's what I would like to see.
All right. Well, how about that? Putting you on the spot, and we had the same kind of numbers in mind for those two guys. You all can look forward to more of that from Michael and I again over these next couple episodes as we think about some numbers, think about things we want to see, and preview realistically what we can see and expect from the Sixers this season. So I like those numbers too. I think Tyrese.
It's going to be reasonable.
And even what you said,
honestly.
It is a big factor in that. Like you said, is context, or I think you said context. Just like this team. I mean, we can only do so much, meaning that we can only base stats, previews, all that stuff, predictions off of the Sixers roster as it is constructed right now. The expectation might be different, might be higher, might be lower, given who the Sixers have on this roster,
right.
For the majority of the season, that kind of thing. So, but as long as Tyrese and Shake are getting those minutes as the starting point guards, sixth man, I definitely think those are some realistic numbers for us to desire for those guys to get to this year. Realistic clip for sure. And I'm just going to throw this out there in the I wish I could see your face right now. In the middle of talk about roster reconstruction, there's been a couple guys linked to a possible trade for number 25 on the 76ers. I think we should continue to refer to him in that way, kind of like Skip Bayless did back in the day with the Spurs with Kawhi Leonard. He would call him number 2. So number 25 for the 76ers has been linked to a possible trade with the Pacers and to get Malcolm Brogdon and Karis LeVert in return. There's been a few others that say a 3-team trade. I saw Robert Covington in the mix. I saw Tobias Harris leaving. So the Sixers would get Covington, Brogdon, and LeVert for number 25 and Tobias Harris. That was one. Just kind of interesting. I personally, at this point in the game, I like the idea of number 25 for Karis LeVert and Malcolm Brogdon. Again, health is kind of a thing with those guys, maybe an issue, but those are two solid NBA players. And if you can get that for a guy that's sitting on his couch across the country right now, I think it helps the team. And I don't know how serious that trade rumor is, but I'm not opposed myself. And I don't know if you want to speak to that. You can feel free to not. But, yeah, I like it, if that's even true. I don't know if you've seen any. Like, you've seen that one. I don't know if you like. How much are you putting stock into that? Is that even one possible? Two, is it actually being discussed?
Honestly, yeah. I mean, I'll keep it brief. One thing I will say though is Skip Bayless is a weird dude. Anyway, I think I don't know. I just at this point I'm just like, okay. I'll take the deal. If this is what's being offered to the Sixers, yeah, I'll take that. I would trade Ben Simmons for Malcolm Brogdon. Not even for the fact that, like, I would take Karis LeVert. Obviously, there's a little bit of injury concern there, but I would take that package easily at this point. You don't even have to give us a pick. We'll just give you Ben Simmons and maybe a pick or two, and you can give us those players. But again, I will take Malcolm Brogdon for Ben Simmons. I would do that. And they still don't have to give us a pick. I'll do it. That's all I'm going to say.
I like it. Short, sweet, to the point, and you're solid. You're sticking to it.
Yes.
I like it. Although Karis LeVert would be a very nice addition to that.
Totally agree.
But that kind of even surprised me, just the way Ben's, number 25 stock has been trending.
His own fault.
Well, with the Nuggets, like the thing with Jamal Murray, where the Sixers were like stupid for even thinking that was. I don't think the Sixers are stupid for thinking that's, worth a negotiation. To give him up for Jamal Murray and whatever else that package was going to look like. But I guess that's the way his trade value is trending around the league. But interesting to see two, again, very, very good NBA players linked to him. That's a pretty good sign, in my opinion, if it's true and if that negotiation is even happening. Anything else, or we just want to give some instruction as to how we're going to proceed on Planet 76 moving forward? We're approaching our first regular season on Planet 76, and I'm excited about it.
I am very, very excited as well. We're approaching uncharted territory, but it's gonna be fun. I will say that. Again, we started in the playoffs: May, June, July, August, September, October. What is that? 6 months? May, June, July, August, September. That is 6 months. What? What?
Crazy.
Dude, wait a minute. May, June, July, August, September, October. No, that's 5.
So,
that's 5 months.
When was playoffs start? Late May? Well, we're October 7th right now.
Man. So. Wow.
Yep.
That is crazy. But
we're rolling right along into the regular season.
Yeah, I'm going to speak this. I'm going to say it, and then we're going to put it into action. This is going to be the best Sixers podcast on the market. It already is, in my opinion, but you all will find that out, and you all will come to that conclusion soon, because we're speaking it, and we're putting our words into action. So that's all I'm going to say.
I'm here for it.
Nice.
I'm here for it. Let's take off. Planet 76. Again, we try and release every single week. We've done so pretty consistently during the off season, and the plan is not changing moving forward in the regular season. Gonna be trying to produce weekly at least. And during that, of course, we get to talk about games. We get to talk about what's going on. We get to talk about updates, injuries, news, standings, all of that fun stuff packed into an episode. And so it's going to be a lot of fun. We hope that you're going to join us for the ride. We hope that you will tell somebody to join us here on Planet 76. Again, as we get to recap games, we get to preview games, and all that and more. So look forward to some content coming up here over the next couple weeks as we head closer to the regular season for the Philadelphia 76ers beginning October 20th. And I'm Troy. That's Michael, and this is Planet 76. You just listened to an episode of the Planet 76 podcast. Hey, we appreciate you joining us for this episode. Whatever platform you're on, why don't you hit that subscribe button for us, and we'll see you next time.